Just because I help you bury a body just means I'm very helpful, not that I love you. I'm just Canadian. I can't say no.
Too polite. Welcome to Books and Banter, a podcast about books. I'm Janine, a library clerk.
And I'm Jess, branch admin.
And we both work at the Winkler branch of South Central Regional Library. In this podcast, we talk about books with our own twist. We read the first half of the book and predict where it might be going, and then finish reading the book and discuss the second half.
There will be snark, there will be spoilers, and depending on the book, there may be references to violence, sex, and other adult topics. So if that's not for you, stop listening now.
All right, let's get into this week's book. All right, this week we're reading How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano. Make him want you, make him love you, make him dead. Sissy has an interesting family. Always the careful one, always the cautious one. She has handled the cleanup while her serial killer sisters have carved a path of carnage across the U.S. Now, as they arrive in the Arizona heat, Sissy must step up and embrace the family pastime of making a man fall in love and then murdering him. Her first target? A young widower named Edison, and their mutual attraction is instant. While their relationship progresses, and most couples would be thinking about picking out china patterns and moving in together, Sissy's family is reminding her to think about picking out burial sites and moving on. Then something happens that Sissy never anticipated. She begins to feel protective of Edison, and before she can help it, she's fallen in love. But the clock is ticking, and her sisters are growing restless. It becomes clear that the gravesite she chooses will hide a body no matter what happens. But if she betrays her family, will it be hers? This book was first published March 21st, 2023, and this is the first book written under the name of Ren DeStefano. The author also writes under the name of Ren DeStefano. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. Ren DeStefano lives in Connecticut, where she was born and raised. When she's not writing thrillers, she's listening to true crime podcasts and crocheting way too many blankets. And I got that from Amazon, but that's also her bio, I think, pretty much everywhere I looked. And then as Ren DeStefano, she writes primarily in the young adult genre, writing mostly utopian and dystopian fiction. And she is best known for her Chemical Garden series, which I've never heard of. So there you go. Some background info on the book and the author. There wasn't a lot about the author, to be honest. One of the other authors I was researching at the same time, I found like a whole bunch of really interesting stuff. So anyway.
It's one of those things, though. If I was an author, you have my name. There you go.
What more do you need, right?
I speak English, British, American, Australian, Canadian, and various other English-based languages. But beyond that, you don't get anything.
That's a good bio, though. That's at least interesting. I mean, hers is...
I swiped it from a children's author.
No. Hers is not, like, it's not terrible.
No.
But...
it's very surface and basic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Basic white girl.
Another one we're going to record today will have a lot more information. Because I just didn't know what to cut out because it was also interesting.
Hey, if it's interesting, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does add more legitimacy to a book in some ways.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, you never know.
Anyway.
The summary. Most couples would be thinking about picking up china patterns. Does anybody still do that?
No.
Like, is that not a thing from, like, the 50s?
Yes.
I kind of feel like that's one of those sayings that could kind of go by the wayside because nobody does it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when my aunt got married in the 90s, I think she picked out china, or maybe it was, like, glassware or something like that. Like, it was still common then to do that, but now, not like we never picked out china. We picked out dishes, like a dishes set, but...
who these days can afford to have a set of china that doesn't get used?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like,
it's not practical.
My great-grandma had a complete set of china, I think 12 place settings,
yeah,
actually.
My grandma does too.
And my mom inherited that. But we never, hardly ever use it. Every so often she'll pull it out, but,
generally speaking, it's for looks only, unless you have a china cabinet. It's sitting in a box somewhere, so there's no point. So it is one of those sayings, and I'm like, that is so 20th century.
Yes. Yeah, and it's more of a sentimental thing, I think, than anything else. And, I think my great-grandpa had picked out the pattern or something, and, it was this whole big thing, and then... whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I know when I was reading that too, I was like, oh, china patterns?
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of dated.
Yeah.
But.
So, let's talk first about the cover.
I like the colors.
Yeah, the colors are nice. There's 3 silhouettes. Did it say... It never said in the summary that these girls are triplets, did it?
No, it didn't. I was kind of surprised because I thought it was just sisters, but no, they're triplets.
They're triplets, and that's why this works for them.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah, so yeah, 3 silhouettes on the cover. One is holding a knife.
Just a pink to orange gradient sky.
Yeah, like a sunset-y kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's nothing... I don't know if I would look at it and say, oh, I really need to read this book.
It's a very basic cover. Like, it's pretty enough, don't get me wrong. It's fine. But there's nothing... It's no Homecoming. And there's nothing really saying that it's like a murder mystery. Murder? This isn't no mystery. We know who the murderers are.
Right.
The murderers are the main characters.
Would you classify this as a thriller? Or how would you...
I don't know.
I wouldn't necessarily say thriller just yet. Maybe the thrills are coming.
In some ways, yes. In other ways, I'd say it's more of a thriller than Stephen King. It's just, at this point, it's a low bar to cover.
Than the Stephen King that we've read, though.
Yes.
Perhaps we need to read some of his older works.
Suggest a scary Stephen King, because I'm tired of falling asleep during Stephen King books. But I will say the one thing I do like about the cover, the author's name is little, and the title is big.
Yeah.
Because it irks the heck out of me when the author's name is massive, and you're, like, hunting for the title.
Yeah.
James Patterson, you know who you are.
I was gonna say, that usually only happens with, like, really big name authors.
But even with them, I'm like, at least do it the same font size.
Exactly. There's no need for your name to be bigger.
No.
At all.
No.
Absolutely not. Yeah, but yeah, we definitely didn't choose this one based on the cover.
No, we chose it because it had murder.
We chose it.
We chose it. I use my words very goodly today.
Me talk pretty. No, it was like, it sounded...
cocky.
Me like Sergei Fedorov. Me like him more if head were off. Ha ha ha.
Why does arrogant worms come up so much?
Because they're just the best.
We're such good Canadians.
It's like Tom Hanks in You've Got Mail, and he talks about The Godfather and how there's like a Godfather quote for every situation. I feel like the arrogant worms.
The arrogant worms do have it covered pretty much across the board.
There's an arrogant worms lyric for every situation, I feel like.
Yep. Sorry, I'll stop interrupting you with arrogant worms.
No, I don't even know where I was going. But anyway, so in theory, this is a really interesting concept. In actuality, when you're reading about it, first of all, I don't quite fully understand the why of the murders. I think it's that they don't want to be left, right?
From what I gather, it's, leave them before they leave you.
Yeah, but then you can just leave them and you don't have to kill them.
You can just leave the state. It's fine.
You can just leave. Like, you don't have to murder somebody.
No.
So, like, that part of it, I was like, I don't quite understand. Like,
the first murder was a lot more of a... I'm not going to go so far as to say accident. Mm-hmm. Because, no. But it was a lot more of a situation type of thing.
Right.
But then why do you keep going and finding guys, making them fall in love with you, and then killing them?
Yeah.
Because by all intents and purposes, these are, like, relatively decent guys.
Right. And I don't fully understand the why behind it yet. And so I'm struggling with that because it makes them seem very cold and calculating and, like, just, like, they're so nonchalant about it.
Like, you can't really go, okay, don't want to say it's a justified serial killer, because, again, no. But you can kind of understand where they're coming from and why they're doing it. Like, if the guys that they were dating and then killing were, like, horrible people, not saying it justifies it, but I will understand it more.
Right.
But they're just, like, regular guys. Like, what did they ever do to you?
Exactly. And so, like, I don't...
And I kind of feel like you don't have to make them fall in love with you to kill them.
No. Well, I mean, you don't have to kill them.
Well, you don't have to kill them, period. But if you're a serial killer and you have to kill... You don't have to make it take 6 months.
Yeah.
Efficiency girls, come on.
Yeah, I don't fully understand that. So I was kind of struggling when I was reading this because I just, like, I don't understand why you're doing this.
Yeah.
And if I knew, like, I don't know. And the way that she, like, plans it out in her head so, like, detailed and, oh, this is how I'm going to do it and this is where we're going to bury him and all of these things. And I'm like, but why? Clearly you're attracted to the man.
Yeah.
And to the point where it seems like she's falling in love with him.
I would say she is.
Why not just decide, hey, I'm not going to kill this guy?
Yeah. Tell your sisters you won't rat them out. They move on. You stay.
Yeah, there's still two of them. They can still make their plans work.
Yeah.
Between the two of them.
Like,
because part of their thing is having an alibi, right? So making sure that one of them appears on camera at the time when whatever murder was happening, so that there's always an alibi.
And that nobody knows they're twins or triplets.
Right. Never being seen all three together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even that, A, it works with two people, and B, the way they're doing the rest of it, it's kind of just like the final insurance policy. I don't think it's necessarily a case of we're never going to get away with it if we don't do this.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I don't know.
But all of it's kind of at this point, just why are you doing this? Like, that's the thing I don't understand. Because one sister had her heart broken by some guy. I'm sorry, I have a sister. If she gets her heart broken and kills the guy, I'm not then going, well, you did it, so I have to too. Like,
really?
Might help her bury the body, we'll see.
Are you going to say you're going to help her clean up the mess at least?
Probably. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go, well, you did it, so I'm going to have to go make a guy fall in love with me and then kill him.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
We could just be supportive of your hobbies and not be doing them ourselves.
Your hobbies. I'm sorry.
Just to be clear, I'm not advocating for killing anyone. But I'm just saying, like, you don't have to do what your siblings are doing.
Yeah.
And
no, you definitely don't.
Like, while I sympathize with the fact that their foster care growing up situation sucked, it still doesn't mean you have to go this route. You can all just find a lovely little apartment. By all indications, you have enough money to live comfortably.
Yes.
Like,
that was another question I had, like, I don't know how many pages in I was already, and I was like, how are these girls making money?
Yeah. They're
just traveling around and killing people. Where are they getting the money to do that?
Yeah, they're not exactly running insurance schemes here.
Yeah.
Which they very easily could.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, I get it. It's more suspicious if you have a life insurance policy out on the person. But at the same time, if you're taking every other step and making sure that your alibis are ironclad and yada, 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 you could get a bit of cash out of it.
Right? Like, but they say they never take anything from any of their victims. So...
Which, okay, fine, but why are they even victims?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
that's...
By all indication, only two of them really have a compulsion to kill.
Yeah.
And even that, I'd say Iris is a full psychopath. Moody's more sociopath.
There's something wrong with these girls.
Clearly.
Every time I wrote a note, I always wrote these girls. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, I don't get the sense that Sissy is really a killer.
No.
At all.
No. Like, more of a planner. And directing and controlling the impulses of the other two.
Yeah. But
not that she doesn't want to kill herself.
No.
And like, even with Edison, she's like, oh, this is the one I want to kill. But the further along the book gets, the less I feel like she actually wants to kill him.
She doesn't at all.
And that being said, I don't trust Edison. There's something off about him.
There is something off about him. I agree.
It's kind of, yeah. How did his wife die again?
She was hit by a car.
Right.
I think. She had a flat tire.
Yeah, and then got hit by a car.
Yeah. Drunk driver, possibly.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Something about him is just that quarter turn off. And I don't know if I want to go so far as to say he's a serial killer himself.
Well, if he's a killer, they can just bring him into the fold. And
Great,
then she can
more.
stay
you can
with
lift
him.
The bodies.
Right? But then she could stay with him.
She could just leave the life of crime. She hasn't killed anybody yet. She's innocent.
She's not innocent. Well, she's an accomplice.
She's an accomplice, and she is guilty of obstruction of evidence or something like that. But
yeah,
compared to the other two, she's innocent. She could just leave the life and move on happily ever after. But
she could.
Yeah, I don't know. I want more history of Edison because that boy's a sociopath at the very least.
Maybe it's coming in the second half. There's got to be something.
So.
I was like, also, I keep waiting for the twist. And now there was like a small twist. Like she ended up pregnant, which at one point I thought that like close to the beginning of their relationship, I was like, I wonder if she's going to get pregnant.
I was kind of expecting it.
And then she did. Because
that's kind of the one thing that'd be like I must protect my child and my sisters can't kill the father of my child kind of thing.
Yeah. And it was like, it was a small twist, but not a big enough twist to make me go,
Yeah, no, it was kind of one of those like, oh, okay, you did put it in there.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know. I, at this point, think that she's going to end up alone at the end of it.
Possibly.
Or running off with Edison and a whole Bonnie and Clyde shtick, which, kind of overdone. But I don't think she's going to continue killing with her sisters.
No.
Even if she doesn't kill them, or they don't kill her.
Maybe they'll kill her.
They're both capable. Although Moody is messy as heck. Like...
Yes.
Both of them. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you operating the way you are? Because you don't make sense to me. And there's a point where, like, this isn't a sustainable practice. Israel Keyes, he was successful because nobody knew he was in town.
Yeah.
You're staying in town for 6 months.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? And you're making friends and, like...
And you're in the States. Yes, it's a big country, but people move and people, oh yeah, no, that person looks exactly like them and they were here for... Like, you can't... There's only so long you can keep moving before you run into somebody who knows you.
Yeah.
And they might not put it together at first, but they probably will when somebody dies again.
Right. And that's the thing with, like, Israel Keyes. He had a home base, right? He had a home. He had, like, family and friends and connections. And then he would travel.
Yeah.
But then he would say, oh, I'm going on a trip here. But then from there, he would drive somewhere completely different. And, like...
He went off radar.
Yeah.
And it was very much in and out killings.
And it was random.
And that's why he was successful as a serial killer, which is not a good thing to be. We prefer terrible serial killers like that. Just incompetent.
Or maybe just no serial killers.
Preferably. But if you're going to be a serial killer, be incompetent so we can catch you. But he was successful because he was in and out of a town and the kill was done, like, within hours. And there was nothing to connect him to anything. The more connections you establish in a town, the more you have opportunities to get caught.
Right. By
people that recognize you, by, oh, there's a pattern of, you know, this was a person close to him. And I don't care how much you're playing, you know, bereaved girlfriend. The fact still remains you were close to the person that died.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, oh, yes, you know, it was the neighbor of somebody.
And the partner's always a suspect.
Yeah.
Regardless, like...
Even if it is an owl.
It wasn't the freaking owl, okay? There's no way. There's just no way.
I just really like the thought of it being an owl.
I know. It's a really creative theory. But that's the thing. It's creative. Like, I feel like somebody had to really, like, dig deep for that.
What is a common animal that it could be that yet we don't have a lot of evidence in terms of, like, bite marks and stuff for a dog?
I feel like we need to read a book about that so I can research owl killings.
If you can find a true crime book about that killing, go for it.
I'm sure there is.
Oh, there has to be. But
I want to say even he wrote one because he's an author.
Well, we can do that. We do that for the alligator one. But
yeah,
okay. Then assuming there's no owls in this book,
then we can argue about the owls.
Yes,
more because there's no way. There's no way.
Oh man,
can't remember the name of the case, but I know that
if there's one saying that he did it and one saying that he didn't do it, like written by him, we should definitely read both of them and do a comparison.
Yeah,
because that'd be hilarious.
Well, that's actually really interesting because there's a case, Casey Anthony. I read a book written by her lawyer and a book written by the prosecution's lawyer, and like it was wild. Because I read the prosecution book first, and I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely, she did it. And then I read the defense lawyer's book, and I was like, oh, well, I never thought about it that way before.
Maybe not.
Right? And, like, it just, like, it's really interesting to read the two sides and to get both perspectives on that.
And I think with something like this, I really just want to read his case for it was definitely an owl. And everybody else going... No, dude. It was you. It was definitely you.
Like,
it's always the husband.
Well, not always, but okay, tell me honestly, you don't really believe it was the owl, do you?
I don't know enough about the case to say one way or the other.
There is,
it's one of those where I've heard it, you know, bits and pieces in passing, but I haven't actually done a deep dive into it.
There is a Netflix document, I think it's Netflix documentary about it, called The Staircase, I think. And it is he's heavily featured in there. So yeah, you kind of like, you want to be on his side, but at the same time you're like, I'm
on nobody's side. I'm assuming everybody's guilty. I would be terrible on a jury.
I think they made a movie out of it also with Colin Firth. I feel like Colin Firth was playing him. Why can't I think of his name? Oh, it's bugging me. Anyway.
No. I would be like the worst juror in the world. Because I'd be like, maybe it was the lawyer that did it. He's very suspicious.
No. I don't know. I used to always think how fun it would be to do jury duty, but I don't think that anymore.
Life is beating that right out of you.
Oh, I couldn't. Like, somebody's fate is in your hands. And what if you make the wrong choice?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing. And it's not that making the right choice in jury duty is my concern so much as so often it's, oh yes, this evidence wasn't presented in court, or this evidence wasn't allowed to be presented in court, that comes through later where you're going, well, that would have changed everything now, wouldn't it? So I don't trust that I'm actually getting all of the information to actually make a fully informed decision.
Yeah.
So it'd always be kind of like, okay, what aren't you telling me?
Yeah.
And I'm just suspicious by nature. I think we've covered that.
Don't be suspicious. Be suspicious. Sorry. Yeah. No, I do, like, when I got to the end of the first half plus that we read.
Yeah, I read too far. In my defense, there was a murder going on, and I forgot about chapter headings.
But, like, when the closer I got to, like, the end of the first half, the more I did want to keep reading, because I was like, how's this gonna play out? What's gonna happen? I need to know.
A bit more invested.
Yeah. Like, the first half, it took me a long time to get into this book. And within the first, like, 50 pages, I probably fell asleep twice.
See, I never did. I was into this book from the get-go, because I'm like, hey, you started with a murder. Cool, you've got my interest.
Yeah, no, I
felt bad for the guy, because all he did was try and help. But...
Yes, that is true. They should have not killed him, but...
Yeah. They should have also hit his truck.
Yeah.
Preferably at the bottom of a lake.
Yes.
Because now you know for sure something bad happened.
Yeah.
Whereas if his truck just went, poof, gone, he may have just went, I'm done with this life, and left. There's the reasonable doubt then.
Yeah. But now there's a body.
Exactly.
Oh.
And you had his keys. You had everything you needed. Just...
Yeah. That they didn't want to leave their DNA on the truck, I guess. They're very concerned about the DNA, and the whole thing with, like, pulling out all the teeth. I have never heard that before.
What? That's like step 1.
Really?
Yeah. Teeth and hair.
I've never heard that before.
How have you not heard that? Like, the amount of true crime that you consume.
I don't know. Okay, name one famous serial killer who pulled out teeth.
Not Pedro Lopez, because he was in, like, Ecuador.
Is that the guy who killed all the kids?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Not Harold Shipman, because he targeted old ladies, because,
easy
kind of
target.
Weak serial killer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
See?
The good ones, obviously, because we don't know them. I'd have to do research. There's a lot of serial killers. The Candyman?
The Candyman.
Did you know about the Candyman murders?
Nope. I just know about Willy Wonka the Candyman.
We'll talk later.
Okay.
It is not appropriate for on-air.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
There was some things in this book that I was like, oh, I can't read this.
Like what?
When she was, after Dara had killed her husband, and she was like...
Which I'm not mad at, by the way.
No.
Of all the killings in this book thus far, that's the one where I'm like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Don't kill, but at the same time, don't beat your wife.
Right. Exactly.
And it was self-defense. She may have been able to get away with it if she just,
probably
called the cops.
Probably could have, but
yeah.
I can't remember what it was now she was talking about. Oh, she was talking about how normally she would, like, hang the body over the sink and cut them open and drain their blood, and
because they're lighter.
Yeah, and all this stuff, and I was like, ooh, yuck.
Which I don't understand. On the one hand, yes, they're lighter. On the other hand, I'm sorry, if I think someone may have been murdered in the kitchen, swabbing the sink's the first thing I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you washed off blood. If someone was murdered in the house, I'm checking the sinks.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of step 1. And even if you have bleached the heck out of everything, A, the excess amount of bleach is telling, and B, there's a lot of cracks and crevices.
Although they have talked about that there's a certain ratio of bleach to water that you use so it doesn't smell like bleach. And then she talked about going back in and oxidizing it, like with peroxide or something. She also talked about one of Moody's murders where she was cleaning the crevices with like a toothbrush and stuff. So they are very, very thorough in their cleanup.
She's good at her cleanup job.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where I'm like, I would rather leave the blood in the body than spreading it hither and yon for more.
There's more chance of like, like maybe there's a little droplet that I didn't see or didn't get. Yeah,
like it can be the teeniest, tiniest thing. So, yeah,
I know.
But
and also like several mentions of luminol.
Yes,
it was like,
yes, they're like, oh, they like their luminol.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a podcast that I listen to that has merch, and they have like coffee mugs and water bottles that say on them, "This might be luminol." I've always wanted to order one. I just can't bring myself to do it. My mom would see it, she'd be like, "What?" And then I would try and explain it, and she'd be like,
"What the heck are you into?
Who is this child that I birthed?
What happened to you?"
Yeah. Who hurt you?
Nobody. I have luminol.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like, I'm not like some books where I'm like, oh, I just don't want to read any more of this. I do want to keep going because I want to see how they like sort this all out.
But it's also not one of those where I'm like, I'm going to go back and finish it tonight.
No, and it's also not one of those where I think I'm probably going to end up like recommending this book to people because the concept I thought was really interesting, but I'm not understanding the why.
Yeah.
I think if I had a better reason or a better like...
Which we might get in the second half.
Maybe. And so maybe then yes, but like it all seems so pointless to me. I think that's why I'm struggling. Yeah. Like all of these killings just seem pointless. Like what's the point?
That's the thing. If they went after guys like Tim,
I think.
Tim.
Yeah.
If they went after guys like Tim, Dara's husband, I would understand it more. Mm-hmm. Because they're guys that are really words I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah.
So I could understand that. That to me makes sense. There's reasoning behind it. There's logic behind it. There's, even though don't kill anybody, you can understand the thought process of if we're going to kill, let's kill somebody that is, if not expendable, at least makes the world a better place by them not being there.
Right.
But they're just going for average Joes. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I do not think Edison is peachy little choir boy that he's trying to be, because that guy is suspicious as heck.
Well, so they're both going to church, like they're really nice church people. They're not nice church people.
Put it this way, they're going to church, to me, feels more like a cover or just a thing that's done rather than out of any actual interest.
Yeah.
And, like, with him, he keeps going to meetings, presumably AA meetings.
Yeah.
I don't think they are.
Because he never actually says AA meetings.
Yeah.
And one time she asked him about it, and his answer was a little sketchy, I feel like.
A bit sketchy, and it's like, oh no, I have to go to a meeting. Oh, I can't, I have to go to a meeting. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to think a meeting is killing people.
Or something.
Like, and the fact that there's no pictures of his ex-wife. Like, there's pictures of his ex-wife, but there's no, like, their wedding pictures. It was all, like, very Instagram-y shots, where it's like, you know, hands on the airplane seat, or photos of a ring. There's no wedding shots, really.
Yeah, I mean, there was some pictures of her face, I think, because when she met his stepdaughter, she knew instantly who she was when she saw her face.
But it was very posed and curated.
Yeah.
Rather than, there's pictures of your family, there's pictures of your family dog, or, you know, childhood photos. Like, I have, like, very, very few pictures of myself because I don't understand the point of a selfie. I have a mirror. Yay! I just don't get it.
Well, you go like this, and then you post it for all your followers to see. And like and comment on, oh, you're so cute. Oh,
I don't want to be followed.
Well,
it's creepy.
I'm just telling you, that's what the point is, I think.
Jess is continuing not to understand.
Yeah, well, I don't totally either.
Society. But anyway, my point is, I have very few photos of myself, and even I have some photos of myself from childhood, a few, like, family photos, that kind of thing. And I would, like, it would be a stretch if there's a photo of me for every year that I've been alive.
Well, you'd have your school photos.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like, I just, and I'm very, very good at avoiding photos, so, yeah. Anti-paparazzi, haha.
Because there's so much paparazzi in Winkler.
Oh, definitely. Following me around with zoom lenses at all times. So it's suspicious that, being as not as photophobic as I am, that she wouldn't have something, especially if you're going to the trouble of having a photo album.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
The fact that
so
her daughter is around. Like, honestly, for the first part, I would have said that his wife was fake. And that he made her up to get sympathy and collect victims. Because that's how often people operate.
Do you think that the photo albums, like, he just went through her Instagram and just took all the photos and made fake albums?
Possibly. But see, that's the thing. Like, I could see him making up a wife. But then there's the daughter. Mm-hmm. Which...
It's a little harder to make up a daughter.
When she's alive and present, yes. Mm-hmm. Continuing to poke her to see if your finger goes through his... You know, not recommended.
No.
You know, she's a ghost or something. But it's the daughter that throws it off a bit. And the kid, I don't trust her either. I don't think she's, evil or anything.
The little lightning bolt?
Yeah.
That drove me bad.
Yeah.
She has a name.
Yeah. And it's a really weird nickname.
Yeah. I didn't understand.
No.
The why of the nickname.
No.
There's a lot of things in this book I'm not fully understanding yet.
Like, I don't think the child is evil. Don't think they've killed any turtles. But something's off there. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what it is, but something's off. Basically, I'm suspicious of everyone.
You are. Yeah. I don't disagree.
Do you have any predictions for the second half?
Somebody's gonna die.
No.
Yeah. I just haven't figured out who yet.
I mean...
Or how many.
If I hadn't read too far, you'd be right, because Tim died.
Yes.
And... Okay.
No, Tim died at the part where we were supposed to stop.
There's a reason why I read too far.
Yeah.
Dara
is how I would say it, but...
There's a comedian called Dara O'Brien, it always throws me off. Dara. Sissy was really efficient at dismembering and or disposing. Like, to the point where you clearly did this before.
Yeah.
Dara is not ride or die. So, is she going to keep her mouth shut? Mm-hmm. Because, don't get me wrong, I'm fine with Tim being gone. I think the whole, Tim got fed up and left is a possibility.
Yeah.
But, very efficient. Mm-hmm. Very efficient.
Yep. To
the point where you didn't have a saw, you're manipulating joints and cutting around, which seems to be a theme in our books lately.
Yes.
But, I don't know. I half get the feeling she's going to crack.
It's possible. Because,
technically, she could get away with it. Because it's still a case of, he attacked her, she defended in self-defense. Mm-hmm. In self-defense, duh. And I would say not deliberately killed him.
Right, but now that the body is gone...
But she went for a shower. Is it the best move? No, but you can argue she's in shock. Mm-hmm. Then Sissy cleaned up the body. The only part of that Dara was actually involved in was transport and the dumpster dumping, which is a fairly small part of it. Mm-hmm. So, yes, she would probably do a little bit of time, but she could pretty much get away with it. Mm-hmm. So it's not as though going to the police about, hi, my neighbor's disturbingly efficient at dismembering bodies. Oh, how do I know? Because she dismembered my husband. She could kind of get away with turning Sissy in while not completely ruining her life.
True.
Yeah. So, unless she thinks they're going to kill her, what incentive is there for her to stay quiet?
Yeah, that's true also.
That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody's definitely going to die. I hope somebody goes to jail also.
And if Edison dies, Dara knows. Mm-hmm. There's no way in heck she can't put two and two together there. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
Unless she joins their merry bang of murderers.
I know.
Merry gang of murderers. Unless she joins their merry gang of murderers. There we go. That's
another thing I thought of was, are they going to bring her into the fold?
I don't think she's got the stomach for it.
No.
No.
No. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
If they did, they'd have to also change their entire practice.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they're going to do it. Mm-hmm. Plus, there's a point where 3 women traveling across the country, given the fact they all look the same, a little bit odd, but, you're clearly sisters. 4 gets to be a point of suspicious.
Yeah.
It's Especially if Edison were to join the Merry Bang. Merry Gang. Why do I keep saying bang instead of gang?
Because you want to say band.
Merry Band. There we go. If Edison joined their merry band of murderers, plus there's a baby. Mm-hmm. Maybe Dara can be childcare while the other three go off murdering.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea either.
Oh, I don't think any of it's a good idea. I think they should all go to jail immediately.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on her sisters?
Oh, I don't like them.
Like I said, I think Iris is a psychopath. I think Moody's a sociopath. I think they were made, not born, but...
I also, for some strange reason, really want to know what their actual real names are.
Oh, I know, me too.
I don't know why, but I just...
Well, their nicknames are kind of crap.
Yeah.
Like...
Sissy.
Moody. Well, why do you call that? Because I'm moody.
Yeah.
That's very emo of you. Like, that's basically a teenager that got to pick their own name. Well, there's a reason why.
Would they pick that as their own name?
Moody would.
I mean, my teenager is Moody. I don't think she would want that for her nickname.
Does she also go around killing people?
I'm maybe going to start calling her that just to see how it goes over.
I'm run it past her, see if it works.
Yeah. But can I call you Moody? She'd be like, no.
What's wrong with you? No.
Yeah, I get that look multiple times a day, so it's fine.
She's a teenager. There's like a quota she has to hit.
Uh-huh.
So.
It's true.
But
it's okay, though. I'm used to it. I can handle it.
Yeah. The other thing is, serial killers. What's the technical definition?
Well, I have it in the fun facts. Do you want me to...
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to save it for the second half?
Well, I can just give you the technical definition. There's more to the fun facts then. But basically, someone who has murdered at least 3 people over a period of more than a month, with at least some cooling off time between each murder.
Some criminal psychologists go further, arguing that serial killers must have a deviant psychological motive, for example, sexual gratification, that goes beyond the murder itself. See, that's the thing. Are they technically serial killers?
Yes. Because it sounds... Well, not Sissy.
Sissy's not.
But the other 2, it sounds like they both killed at least 3.
They've killed at least 3. There's definitely a cooling off period. See, that's the thing where I was reading it, where I'm like, do they count? Because they build up relationships first, and then they kill them. So, A, there's a minimum count for a serial killer, but B, is it also... It's like the whole Black Widow thing. Are they serial killers or are they not serial killers? If you get married and killed multiple times. Yeah, no, it's more the relationship with the victim. Where I'm like, does it fit the technical definition of a serial killer? That was my question more. Which...
Well, according to this definition, yes.
Yeah.
It does.
But, anywho, I don't know. I do kind of feel like it's going to come down to between her and her sisters.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised if she isn't the one that comes out on top. Because the other 2 are very much led by their emotions or lack thereof. Mm-hmm. Whereas Sissy's a planner. There's nothing more dangerous than a planner. Because not only will they kill you, they will make sure you will never be found. So...
Yeah, you hit somebody over the head with one of those things and it could do some serious damage.
Yep.
Bad joke.
So, yeah. I don't know.
I guess we'll see.
I'm still expecting Edison to kill somebody. Maybe Edison kills his sisters.
Oh, maybe.
I could see that happening.
And then they run off together.
And live happily ever after. And love, true love, is what brings us together today.
What's the arrangement?
That dream within a dream. Oh man, I think we're done for now.
I think so.
We've hit our point of we've said why enough times and don't understand it. And
yeah.
When we get to the point of quoting Princess Bride, then we're done.
All bets are off.
Yep.
Welcome back for part 2 of How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano. So, I will say right off the bat, I thought the second half was better than the first half. Mm-hmm. There was a few twists that I did not see coming, which I enjoyed. I always like that when something happens that I didn't see coming.
In this kind of book, yeah. If I can predict the entire thing, you did it wrong.
Yep. That's funny because I was reading a book, or I was listening to an audiobook a couple weeks ago, and I thought I was maybe 30% in, and I was like, I got this whole thing figured out. I was completely wrong.
That's good, though.
Totally. And I was like, whoa, okay. Not at all what I thought. Because it was an unreliable narrator. Mm. And I kind of like those kinds of things because it's like, yeah. But, and I didn't know. So, yeah, it was good. But, yeah, this, I like that. And, I feel like the first half was a lot of,
whining.
And why are these girls the way that they are.
Yeah.
And I still don't fully understand the why behind it.
No.
But maybe a little bit more. But I just, like... So that part of it I didn't really care for because I don't understand. It's a lot of unnecessary death.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Like, it's still... There's still no point to what they do.
No. Not at all.
Like, there's still no reason behind it.
Mm-mm.
Like, they're just picking random guys and killing them.
Yeah. Well, I think at one point they talked about, like, not wanting to get left again. And so, rather than...
you just don't date.
Yeah. Rather than just, like, breaking up with a guy, you're like, I'm just going to kill you so that you can't leave me first.
Single is an option, people.
Yeah. I don't... Yeah. So that part, I didn't... It doesn't make sense to me.
No, like, I don't know. I didn't dislike this book, but I also didn't really like it.
I liked it more than I thought I would at the end of the first half.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, at the end of the first half, I was sort of like, what is this book? I don't understand.
Yeah.
The second half was better. Mm-hmm. Still not a top 10 read for sure.
No, not even close.
I mean, are we really picky with books or what? Because
I feel like it's an interesting premise, but the execution is
not great.
Lacking.
Not great.
Like, if they had changed one thing and picked guys that were terrible,
yeah,
this would be an entirely different book.
Yeah, that's true.
Because then, there's slightly more reason for the killing. Because then they can go, well, we're picking the horrible guys and removing them, and...
Well, the first guy was. Like, he was married.
Yeah, okay, but that doesn't mean he needs to die.
No, but, like...
But, like, you could have picked abusive guy. Or, just, like, truly god-awful people. Because then, the killings would have made sense. Mm-hmm. Not saying you should, but just saying they make sense.
Yeah.
And then... Edison would have been a lot more interesting, because right now he's so milquetoast, like, my god.
I know. I was waiting for something...
Because, like, with Edison, then you could have had, like, oh, they picked this guy, and he seems awful, but then he actually turns out to be decent.
Or he also has a dark past.
Then you got the Bonnie and Clyde thing, or you've got... No, he actually turns out to be decent. She ends up with him. The sisters, poof, whatever. But because they were just like, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, that guy.
Yeah.
You lose any oomph that the book had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just kind of went...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
It's disappointing.
Yeah.
Because the premise is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad book. It's just not living up to its potential. I am going to be the worst mother in the world. You're not living up to your potential.
It's a very interesting concept for sure.
Just needs a full rewrite.
I did not think that they would get caught.
I didn't really think about them getting caught.
No. Like,
either that they would or that they wouldn't. Because it never really factored in. Because my ending was mainly along the lines of, do her sisters die or not?
Yeah.
And I was half right.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Like, Edison as a character, I don't like him.
No. He's a fine character. There's just nothing to him. He's, like, one-dimensional.
He's so flat.
Yeah.
The whole, like, Alcoholic Anonymous thing, you could have made him a better character.
Yeah.
And, like, he's leaving the house to go to a meeting.
Yeah. But
repeatedly.
Where is he actually going?
At random times.
Mm-hmm.
You could have made that interesting.
Yep.
You didn't.
No, just a meeting.
You could have made him bad. You didn't. You could have made him good. You also didn't do that.
He was just...
He's just kind of a vaguely creepy meh.
Flat Stanley.
Like, he's boring.
Yep, he really is.
And not in a, like, oh, yes, white picket fence is boring. No, just in a, like, why are you here boring?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you in this book? You serve no purpose.
Yes, he served one purpose. To impregnate her.
A test tube could have done the same thing.
Well, but that would have been a totally different story.
Yes.
Because this was an accidental impregnation.
But it's still... Honestly...
But it makes her think about her life in a different way.
Really, though?
A little bit.
A little bit, but not significantly.
Not till the end. But, like, it's more a matter of, like, thinking about what would happen if I could keep this baby or stay with Edison or, like
yeah,
those
but she was
things.
Already kind of having those thoughts before she found out she was pregnant.
But
like, it's not as though she went from, I'm going to kill him, to, I'm having his baby. Maybe not. Child support's a wonderful thing. Like, yes, she did think about it, but not to the degree where I felt like it actually impacted her decision-making. Like...
Well, she waffled quite a lot on the abortion aspect.
Yeah.
So...
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know.
She as a character is kind of blah.
She's one of those, like, I'm going to do whatever I can to make you happy, like, be the person you want me to be.
Yeah, she's not a person unto herself. Mm-mm. She's what other people want her to be. Mm-hmm. And those characters I have a problem with because...
You're boring.
You're boring, and it's... How do I put this? You're this person with this person, you're that person with that person. Mm-hmm. Unless it's radically different, or there's a hook in some way, it does not make me like you as a character. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, if there's a hard choice, you're not going to make it. Yeah. If there's a hard thing to do, you're not going to do it. If it's a life and death, you're not going to be there. Yeah. So, why are you here? That's my entire problem with this book. Why are you even here?
Like, in the end, what was the point?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
it got her away from her sisters.
Yeah.
But I'd argue running very fast to do at the same time.
Right?
Like...
But maybe it was just the catalyst that she needed to leave them.
But she didn't leave them. They left her. She did not make a decision.
Yeah, I guess. Well...
Like, she ran away from them originally, but not with the intent to leave permanently. Like, when she's running down the mountain, it's to save the kid, not to actually leave her sisters. It's the sisters that actually gave themselves up to the cop. Iris that made the decision that she's going to the hospital, she's going to tell everything. Mm-hmm. Moody, who made the decision to completely incriminate themselves rather than have Sissy guilty for anything. Mm-hmm. She did not make a decision.
I guess that's true. She was kind of pushed into it.
And she was still trying to convince Iris and Moody not to leave her.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If they had not kidnapped the kid, Sadie?
Yeah.
If they had not kidnapped Sadie, she would have done what they wanted.
Yeah.
That simple. She never actually... Like, even at the end.
Yeah.
She's just doing what Edison wanted her to do. He wanted her to stay, she stayed.
Yeah.
Like, she's just such a floppy character.
I did like... I mean, I don't know if I like, but it made me feel better that she was honest with him and he stayed with her.
Yes, but I would also like to throw a team of psychiatrists at them.
Yeah.
Because, oh my word.
Yeah, no. Don't disagree.
Dude, if your girlfriend tells you all the ways that she wants to murder you...
Yeah.
Get help.
Yep.
Like, and not in a, like, oh, how would you do it if you were to do it? No, in a, like, no, come to the spot where I said I'd kill you. Mm-hmm. Like, you almost deserve to die at that point.
Yeah.
If your murderer calls you and says, hi, I'm your murderer. I know exactly how I'm going to do it. Here's where. Here's how. Will you meet me there? And you go?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's not even murder. That's just suicide now. Like, that's serial killer assisted suicide. That's basically what it is.
Serial killer assisted suicide.
Like, do you have no internal defense mechanisms?
No.
Like,
you gotta really love somebody to go along with that.
I don't know. I didn't get that vibe from them. I got the vibe that they were convenient.
Maybe. But, like...
He's her normal, she's his not normal. It's that simple. She wants normal, he's normal. He wants something a little bit offbeat. She's weird.
To say the least.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, they're both okay with each other's boringness and weirdness.
Yeah, that's true.
She likes the fact that he sits outside a teenager's house and thinks about the ways he could kill him because he killed his wife.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That is weird.
But
do not disagree.
It's just the right level of weird. And sure, fine, you fit together like two very warped puzzle pieces. But is that true love? I'd argue no.
Yeah.
Would he help her bury a body? Yeah, probably. It's date night.
100%. 100% he would.
But...
Yeah,
Just because I help you bury a body just means I'm very helpful, not that I love you. Like, I'm just Canadian. I can't say no.
Too polite. Oh, you need some help with that? That body looks kind of heavy. Can I help you?
You seem to be running out of lye. I have some here. Would you like some?
Oh, you trying to fill that big hole? Let me grab a shovel. Because, all Canadians have shovels in their trunks.
Don't you? I literally do.
I don't, actually.
What do you do if you get stuck?
I don't know. I've never gotten stuck.
You have a husband, clearly.
Yes, I do.
Like, I don't know. This book is just...
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by the fact that Moody killed Iris's first boyfriend.
Yeah.
There's a point... None of these characters are likable.
Not really.
None of these characters are good enough for me to hate them. They're all just blah.
Yeah.
And, like, Iris and Moody. Moody killed Iris's first boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then Iris just goes along with, like, let's just commit a bunch of murders.
Yeah. Let's just continue on with this.
To help Moody keep them all together. You could just share an apartment, girls. Get a nice 3-bedroom.
That's the thing. It doesn't make sense.
Like, they were old enough, they could all just be living together. Yeah. They could have picked up, gone to a different state, gotten some jobs, gotten a house.
Well, then we wouldn't have this book.
I would argue that's a good thing. Like, none of this book needed to happen.
Well,
like, they kill for no reason.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I get it. You've been separated since you were children.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 of you had a pretty hard life growing up.
Like, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah.
But there's no need to then go on a murder spree when you have the option to live together.
Yeah.
Heck, if you hate men so much, there's convents.
Yeah. Yes.
Get thee to a nunnery. Like, come on.
Yes. Yeah, no, I just, it doesn't, the why of it all was never fully explained in a way that was like, okay, I understand.
Like, none of the characters have justification for anything.
No. I mean, the book was interesting enough to keep me reading. And, like, I don't know that
More out of annoyance than anything, though.
I don't know that I fell asleep during this one. Which is, although...
You just have a napometer.
Yeah, right. How many times did I fall asleep while reading this book? We should start to track
Stephen King, every 2 pages.
I would argue that perhaps we should go back to some of his older work.
Yeah. Every time we bring up Stephen King, though, that's what we say.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
I don't know, like, why do people love him so much?
I don't get it. Like I said, popular books, I don't get. Popular authors, no.
Depends for me.
Yeah, I have to stick within the genres and whatnot, but no, this book is nope.
It's a hard pass for you?
Hard pass, like such a hard pass. I'm really disappointed.
I know.
Like, that's the thing that it really comes down to. I'm just disappointed that this book is terrible.
When you told me about it, I was like, yes, that sounds really good. Let's do that. And then I read it and I was like, what?
Well, it's just kind of blah. It's blah. There's no better word to explain this book. It's blah.
Every time Jess says blah, take a
blah, 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 blah. Now I'm responsible for creating too many alcoholics.
Yeah.
And I was honestly expecting better from this author. Like, I've read some of her other books.
Yeah.
The Glass Spare.
Okay.
Very interesting. It's a princess that has a Midas touch, but with gems.
Oh.
And she accidentally kills her brother.
Oh.
Interesting premise. Decent execution. Yeah. Is it the bestest book in the entire world? No. But it's interesting. It's good. It's well thought out. Like, this is disappointing when that exists.
This is disappointing.
Just, you're not living up to your potential.
And one could argue that none of these characters lived up to their potential either.
No. They're spoiled rich girls who went, I don't like people, and then went on a murder spree. And not even in an interesting way.
No.
Like...
No, it's definitely, like...
And they had the money to just live wherever the heck they wanted. Do whatever the heck they wanted.
Yeah.
Like, if you had that kind of money, you could spend some time and effort into research to actually take out the bad guys. And you didn't.
But they also seemed very concerned about money. Because they didn't live in, like, fancy houses. They didn't have a nice car.
Yeah,
like...
but I never got the impression that was because they were concerned about...
Well, when she wrecked the car, she was very concerned about getting a new car or paying for the repairs. Like, the money that would take.
Paper trail.
No, but she was also concerned about the money.
Because you have to justify where you're getting it from. See, my impression was the only time they're concerned about money is when there's a way to track what they're doing. If you want to stay low-key and just... The only way you want to be remembered in that town is, oh, that poor girl who was dating the murdered fellow. You do not splash out on anything. You do not go too poor on anything. You stay dead in the center. Boring. Boring is where you go. Having excess money, you got to remember, they were here for 6 months with no jobs. Sure, cleaning up her aunt's estate or whatever, but to then buy a full car, when logically there should be some kind of loan payment plan financing, which they do not want to do because paper trail. Going in and paying $30,000 cash on the barrelhead for a car is very suspicious.
Right, but paying for repairs on a car.
Again, no paper trail. And that car would have needed extensive repairs. Like, it's... And plus, then you have a mechanic that has worked on a car extensively. A car that will most likely be abandoned at some point, and or used to haul a body. DNA. Identifying. The fact that a car has been repaired will also leave identifying serial numbers, etc. on parts, yada yada. So, it occurs to me I may have gone too deep.
Well, the way that I read it was that she was concerned about the money. And
see,
not in that way.
my suspicious mind just goes the opposite. So, but like, that's the thing. It's just disappointing. I know I keep saying that, but it could have been so much better than it was. You could have made the characters somewhat likable, or like so bad that you hate them. I do not like books where I feel nothing for a character. Like, I like a good villain. You're not a villain, you're pathetic.
Also, like, the whole first half, I was like, what are their real names? And I spent, like,
I know.
And then when they finally said them, I was like,
Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, my name is Emily. I don't care. I really do not care.
I know.
Like,
I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting.
my real name is Letitia. Great.
Some big reveal. But, yeah, no.
Like, and they made such a big deal about it. Like, oh, no, we never use our real names.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Do not care. Does not make a difference.
In the end, it really didn't matter.
It's not like it was some big thing where they're like, oh, they're now in the hospital, they're now in jail. We need to figure out who they are, and there's this great mystery. Nah, we ran your prints, you're this person.
Yeah.
Done. Like...
Well, yeah, because they were in the system.
It's just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So...
The whole Dara thing. I'm annoyed. Very annoyed. Very, very annoyed.
Yeah.
She did not have to die.
No.
It was unnecessary. The fact that Moody's in prison, glad, because that was pointless. Don't get me wrong. The guys were all pointless.
Deaths were pointless.
But, like, she did nothing to you. Are you sticking to your plan of revenge killing men? Or are you just now killing anybody? Because you went for a random truck driver, neighbor, 13-year-old kid. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get caught? Because you're doing a very good job of that.
Well, I think...
And those are all in the same town.
Yeah. But like most serial killers, perhaps her behavior was escalating.
Yeah, but is that not the point of why there's 3 of them? One escalates, the other 2 tone her down. Like, honestly, I feel like this book would have been more interesting if Moody was the main character.
Maybe. Could get
Heck,
into
even
that
Iris would be better.
sick, twisted head of hers.
Well, like, Moody, you still don't really understand her motivations for it. Like, just the fanatic, we have to stay together, is not... Like, that is so thin.
That's not enough motive. We have to leave them before they leave us. Therefore, that means we must kill them? No.
You can't complain that they're leaving you when your entire relationship with them is built on a lie. If they leave you because you lied literally from the get-go, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Of course they're going to leave you. You're a terrible human being.
Yeah.
That's your fault, not their fault. Like, I don't know. Even Iris would have made a better book, because with Iris, at least, it was kind of, didn't kill the first guy, kind of felt obligated she had to kill the next guy, as opposed to, like, this is like covering a corporation that's doing all sorts of interesting things, and the main character is the janitor, who is not in on the board meetings, does not go and do anything, but, you know, we know a lot about how to clean.
Janitors can be interesting people.
Oh, they can be. And don't get me wrong, they see more than you think they do. But it's not... If you actually want to get into the nitty-gritty of, like, how a corporation runs or anything like that, you don't talk to the janitor.
No.
If you want the dirt, you talk to the janitor. But
yeah,
I don't know, just kind of like it felt a little bit like the author didn't want to go all the way and actually portray a villain. Like, she wanted a villain, but like still a villain that was good. But A, flunked on that, and B, you can't have villains that can be good villains, and instead you got the least villainy villain of the villains.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, she still cleaned up bodies, and that still makes her legally responsible for, obstruction of justice. And,
she's an accessory.
And disturbing a body after death, or whatever the technical term is. But it's... I don't know. Just blah.
Yep.
That's what it should read on the back of this book. Blah, 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 blah.
Just giant letters. Blah.
Just rates it. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, do you have any fun facts for us that aren't blah?
I have some facts. I don't know if I will call them fun, but here we go. The National Crime Victimization Surveys estimate that intimate partner homicide accounts for just 4% of murders of men, but about 1/3 of the murders of women.
The other half are owls.
Was not an owl.
We have to read that book.
It should be coming. I IL'd it.
Okay.
I think it's the one that he wrote, though, so...
We really need to do an owl comparison book.
In 2002, 388 male homicide victims, 3.1%, were killed by an intimate partner. Conventional wisdom suggests that women usually kill their spouses in self-defense or as a final desperate reaction to chronic battery, the burning bed syndrome that is sometimes cited as a defense in murder trials. A new Canadian study, however, suggests that barely a quarter of husband killers are victims of domestic abuse, less than half suffer from any identified psychological problem, and fewer still have had trouble with police. The majority of the slayings, perpetrated by knife, gun, and strangulation, appear generally unheralded, suggests the analysis of 20 years of Quebec homicide files.
Okay, the knife, gun, and strangulation. Question. Drugs.
It did not say.
Because that would be my preferred method.
Like, you think the women are high?
No.
Or...
Like, if I had an abusive husband, or just a husband I wanted to get rid of,
you would use drugs.
I would use drugs.
I see what you're saying.
Because if they're taking any kind of prescribed medication, you might be able to OD them on it. If they're diabetic, insulin. If they're not diabetic, insulin. But something like that wouldn't show up, so there might be a lot more murders out there that we just don't know about because they appear normal causes of death.
But as a non-diabetic trying to kill a non-diabetic, you can't just get insulin from the store.
No, there's sourcing issues there, but yeah, I know for a fact I can get insulin easier than arsenic.
All right, there you go. If
just
somebody around Jess suddenly ends up dead, check their toes for needle marks. Carrying on with the not-so-fun facts. Most experts define a serial killer as someone who has murdered at least 3 people over a period of more than a month, with at least some cooling off time between each murder. Some criminal psychologists go further, arguing that serial killers must have a deviant psychological motive, for example, sexual gratification, that goes beyond the murder itself. Serial killers are categorized by motivation. Visionary killers believe they are being ordered to commit murder by God or another entity. These killers may have schizophrenia or experience a psychotic break shortly before committing their crimes. Mission-oriented serial killers consider it their duty to rid the world of certain people.
For instance, sex workers.
Hedonistic killers derive pleasure from killing, either sexual or thrill-based. Other serial killers are driven by a need for power and or control.
See, it's the cooling off period thing that there's plenty of examples of serial killers out there that do not have that cooling off period. John Paul Knowles, Richard Ramirez, that then do not fit the technical definition. Do not then fit the technical definition of serial killers.
Well, it says at least some cooling off. It doesn't say how much.
2 minutes. Back in the game, boys.
Yes, but all their victims weren't 2 minutes apart.
No. But
right?
like John Paul Knowles was what, 18 in 4 months? Something like that.
I don't know that case.
Oh, you should.
Okay. I'll get right on that.
Yeah. But like there's I understand you have to have a definition of a serial killer, but at least a starting point. But I think there's also other factors, and it's not as simple as, well, you fit a definition, bye.
Well, no, nothing ever is, but there needs to be
a starting point.
There needs to be a way to sort of loosely define it at least. So,
but no, I still think it would have been better if we had the book from a different book.
Yes.
Because Moody is more interesting than Sissy.
But alas, her name is Sissy after all.
It's quite a sissy name, frankly.
Sissy name for a sissy girl.
Yeah. I was just thinking, Sissy kept writing Moody letters, and she basically just ignored them.
It's because Moody wanted her to go out and live her life.
Yeah. Moody's more interesting.
Maybe there'll be a sequel. Moody's life in prison.
Nope.
An eventual escape.
Nope. Don't do that. Don't do that. That would just be bad. They're not interesting enough. Sadie, however, that would make a good book. Because you could go a couple of different ways with that. The trauma turns her to a life of crime, or the trauma turns her to a life of hunting down the criminal. That would be more interesting.
I don't know. To me, she's just a whiny little teenager.
That's because she's a whiny little teenager.
I know. I'm not interested in that book.
She wouldn't be a whiny little teenager then. I'm not suggesting like a Nancy Drew vigilante deal here. Vigilante? Vigilante.
I don't know that I would call Nancy Drew a vigilante.
No more that annoying Drew girl.
Yeah. Either way.
I think we just run out of things to say on this book, other than we're disappointed that you didn't live up to your full potential and you really should have gone to college. So that's what we thought of the book, but those are just our opinions, and we'd like to hear yours. Leave us a comment.
Thanks for joining us for Books and Banter, and thanks to our editor, Linda. We'll see you next time.